one of the worst things about this campaign are the last 2 weeks of sexual allegations and sexual assault allegations. And there is a silver lining to that. Is this a silver lining? I don't know. It's a lining. Yeah, I think it's a silver lining. You don't want it to be, but whatever. It's a silver lining. Is that sexual assault hotline calls are up in the wake of Donald Trump's allegations. With sexual assault accusations against Republican presidential Donald Trump continuing to make headlines, the sexual assault hotline run by the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, RAINN, has seen a spike in calls. Starting last Saturday, RAINN officials said their live chat helpline saw an increase in use of 33%, and in recent days, calls to the telephone hotline have also increased. So I think this is a really encouraging thing because it will discourage abuse and encourage people not to be silent.
Trump should run on this. This is the one success from the last 2 weeks.
That's so true, Thor. That's so right. It really, I mean, this is like even if he's never elected, he has accomplished this.
Yeah, and don't put it past him. He will claim credit. Like,
right.
He will say, well, there's a good thing.
Yeah.
Many people are saying I exposed this. No one was talking about it before.
It's so, but he will, if he does win, though, his administration will take over the hotline, and when women call, it'll be like, ma'am, you can't substantiate these claims. They're ludicrous and ridiculous.
Right.
This never happened, and just hang up on them.
But that's...
But
these things are, Donald Trump had these allegations against him, and they're ugly stories, and they are probably one of the factors that will prevent him from being president, and one of the many factors. I think without this tape, he wouldn't have been president anyway. But the fact that this is happening, is that more his celebrity, that whenever anything happens with a celebrity in America, it has an effect? It's why advertising and endorsements and things like that work. I mean, what's at play here? Or is it just people are tuned into this election much more? I think it's a sort of sick part of celebrity.
It could be that these women coming out emboldened other women. They were like, well, if they're going to come out, then I'm going to come out too. I don't know.
I mean, we have things to compare this to, two different ways. One way we can compare it to is the Bill Cosby situation, where like someone in the Cosby situation, it seemed like it was Hannibal Buress who was like became a famous comedian and got quoted, and that kind of snowballed, and people, once it was out in the public sphere, felt comfortable doing that.
Right.
And justice inside you tells you that someone who is able to be like Bill Cosby, like everyone's favorite dad, it doesn't seem just that everyone's favorite dad is doing this to people.
Right.
By comparison, the person who's about to be potentially president of the United States should not be, and it's easy to wrap your head around it, whether it affects it or not, it should not be rewarded with the presidency.
Yeah.
The other thing we can compare it to is the Romney video, because this is the second consecutive election where a hidden camera has pretty much been the thing we remember as submarining a campaign.
Yeah.
And the Romney video, in an election whose level of discourse was far higher than this one, the Romney video, we're talking about the difference between two socioeconomic classes.
Right.
And that is a very sophisticated discussion that you're having. Way more sophisticated than, and most things are more sophisticated than grab her by the pussy.
Yeah.
But I think Donald Trump is, in effect, reaping what he's sown, which is single-handedly, well, he's the fullback.
You're going to go with single-handedly?
No, not single-handedly. No. There is along with with the media apparatus and the Twitterverse, bringing down the level of discourse. And, if I'm a reporter, I want to have this discussion based on the kinds of vocabulary we were using in the last election. But I don't know, for me, I have that developed sense of justice where it's like, you know what? If you're going to be shitty, I'm going to be shitty. And that's not a good thing, but I'm willing to just throw sexual accusations on top of you until it sinks you, and then afterwards we'll deal with the results.
And today there was another one, by the way.
The thing I can't point out enough is the hypocrisy behind this, where Trump supporters will say every claim that's ever been made against Bill Clinton was true, and you should support those women, and then anyone makes a claim against Donald Trump, and it's like, don't listen to them, they're liars, this is political.
Right. Let's have a press conference with these women before the debate, and then after the debate tape comes out, and everybody says, Well, no, we don't want to talk to these women. What they're saying is not credible. It's so true what you say. It's like there's this, that they take one group seriously and not another group. Another woman today, 63-year-old Kathy Heller, says she was at a Mother's Day event at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach. Donald Trump came over, shook her hand, pulled her into him, kissed her on the lips, and it happened in front of her family. People saw it. As a matter of fact, she said she yelled at her husband for not doing anything about it. She didn't say anything about it because it wasn't newsworthy until now. And of course, the Trump campaign is denying it.